It's been an amazing journey. All the miracles that we've seen all those years is nothing but the grace of God. I remember it was yesterday, me and Nolan and Josiah.
Yeah.
He was only 2 years old at that time. And I remember flying into Philippines, just the three of us. We didn't know anybody but my side of the family. And I remember in this room, the three of us, and I remember I asked God, how are we going to do this?
One of the things that, as we started Inspired Church here in Metro Manila, it all literally started with a whisper, started with a calling. 2003, God said, I'm calling you to the Philippines. And it didn't happen right away, but it did happen after I met my wife, we got married, and we went. We literally didn't know the steps or what, or the people or whatever. We just knew God spoke to us. And so we've realized and we know that God has spoke to us again. Whenever God calls you, He's always calling you to step out of your comfort zone. And so when He would call, I would push it down. I'm like, no, God, there's not, no. For me, God will whisper, He'll whisper, He'll whisper. But because He loves me so much, if I don't respond to the whisper, then He'll shout, right? He'll be like, hey. God spoke to us, and I started hearing this phrase in my heart called Volume 2. Thought it was just simply about, coming back to Manila, the new season, doing all of these things. I did not know that God had bigger plans. Last pre-service as Inspired Church, we close up the end of this volume. I want you to step into Volume 2 with fresh eyes. Yeah. So this is the last time we do our one yell as Inspired Church. 1, 2, 3, Jesus! And I was thinking about that. Why did God tell me Volume 2, not like Chapter 2?
Yeah.
Then I realized, because I love books. Chapters, they always have to be read in order. So if I'm in Chapter 7, I won't understand Chapter 7 unless I read Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then I'll know it. But a volume, it's a different book, but the same story.
Yes.
Or part of a bigger story. And so when God was whispering to us, Volume 2, I realized that the volume that we were in, it was not going to move into a new chapter. That God was actually going to close that book. Amazing book. Amazing things God has done. Wonderful people. His hand was upon it. Now we are leaving Volume 1 and we're entering Volume 2.
Right.
A whole new book, a new adventures, new direction. It's a call back to the beginning. A renaissance of our identity when God created man and woman. That before they have done anything, He said that it was good. Imagine a church where when we look into the mirror, no longer do we simply see a reflection of us or reflection of myself, thinking, okay, God bless this reflection. Imagine a country where over 113 million people, when they look into the mirror, no longer do they see just themselves.
Yeah.
No longer do they see their mistakes.
Right.
No longer do they see what they have not yet done. No longer do they see maybe shame. No longer do they see hurt. No longer do they see pain. No longer do they see confusion. No longer do they see disillusionment of what do I do or how do I get there. Imagine that as a church, we begin to help people when they look into the mirror, that what they see is someone created in the image of God. Once you see yourself created in the image of God, you act different, you walk different, you live different. Because now you realize God created me, and if He created me in the image of God, then He created me for the purpose of God. That is who we are as a church. So whoever and whatever I touch, I can, as an ambassador, as a mirror, as a
Image bearer.
image bearer, that I can now bring restoration in God's name. I can bring hope.
Beautiful.
I could bring transformation. That no longer am I simply working at a workplace, but that's my ministry.
Yes.
No longer am I simply living out my days, but it's my mission field now. With every new volume, there's a new title. Volume 1 was what? What was the title of Volume 1?
Inspire Church.
Yeah, Volume 1, if it was on the shelf, you look at Volume 1 and you'll see Inspire Church Metro Manila. And you could look at the stories and you could see how beautiful it is. And you could see it for the 12 years, 12 chapters. Like, wow,
Yeah.
God is good. And then it closed and we put it back. Now, Volume 2, God is calling us to open it up.
Wow.
But the pages are blank, with one simple direction on the first page. Created in the image of God. Created for the purpose of God. And Inspire Church, Volume 1, it's done. It's closing. And now we are entering Volume 2. As a community of believers, and our new name, we are Creatives Church.